While we had a fancy lunch, we lost all the audience who couldn't wait for us. So now we will have to talk to 1/3 full auditorium. Maurice, I thought you will, never mind me, but I thought you will be able to attract more audience.
But we can take a room with 4 people, so the room will be full.
Yeah.
We put 6 people, and we'll have the feeling that it is spilling over.
Okay, good. Who in the audience doesn't know who is Maurice Levy? You see how I formulated the question?
There's not.
You see, only one doesn't know who are you. So you are very well recognized. Maurice is the chairman of Publicis, one of the top advertising agency in the world, right? This is a good definition, and the best one. And whenever I introduce anybody from the advertising industry, I say that his company is the best one. So for today, you are the best one.
Why for today only?
Yeah.
We are, I would not say we are the best one. We try to be the best because it is the only way to survive. You don't survive by the numbers, you survive by the talent.
Good. And other than growing Publicis to its current size, when you started with Publicis, what were the annual sales of the company?
Before answering, I would like to say that I'm personally extremely happy to be in Tel Aviv.
Good.
There are many years that I wanted to be at DLD. I was afraid that the room would have been full of crowd, so I'm happy to see that it's only half full. So it gives me some relaxed way of answering the questions. So now back to the question.
You have to put the microphone
closer.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Like this?
Like this, anywhere.
I told you you are a master. By the way, Yossi is my mentor. Not only I like him, I like his sense of humor.
He's the only one in the world who like my sense of humor.
I love the way he's bashing himself.
It's called in English self-deprivation.
And I like the way he's doing shameless propaganda for Israel and for
And I always have a good partner to doing it in the way of Maurice Levy. Maurice is really never miss an opportunity to help to promote the state of Israel. Really isn't.
So it's a great pleasure to be here. I have, by the way, you were talking about the past days. I have been the very first global agency to invest in Israel.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. There has been some agreements, some commercial agreement. People were lending the names, but no one has invested with real money and lost many shekels as I did. I'm not proud of
I wanted
the losses,
to ask you how savvy,
but I can tell you that
person like you invested in Israel.
This shows the limit of cleverness.
You know why it's happened. There is an old French saying which say that there are more stupid people among the buyers than among the sellers.
Yeah, I know. And you know, the first investment we made was with an agency called Ariely. And Ariely was a great agency, but it was starting to go downhill with a few issues. We invested at the wrong time. And today we are 450 people in Israel.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Making money?
Making money, not much, but okay, as long as we don't lose.
No complaint.
We have a great leadership, fantastic.
Why don't you mention some names?
Team. All this is led by Yossi Lubaton, who is a
Yossi, are you here? Yossi Lubaton, stand up.
and
Stand up and bow to the audience.
he's doing a great job. A
doing-
round of applause for Yossi. He's making me proud of my investment in Israel.
Good. Yossi, can I call you for the podium for just half a minute? Take the microphone, don't sit down while you stand. How many years you work with Maurice?
I think we first met 10 years ago.
10 years ago, and how do you rate him as a boss on a scale 1 to 10?
E.
Can I say one?
Yeah, I
And I'm
expect you
fired
to
now.
say
And
one.
I'm fired now. I think Maurice said that he lost money. He didn't lost it because he wasn't wise. I think he knew that he's going with his heart and not only with his mind. And I think that this is the most important thing about Maurice. He loves Israel. I'm happy that we have managed to make him happy also with the results. But I think that Maurice invested in Israel when he started to invest in Israel, mainly with his heart and not with his Excel sheets. And it came out good at the end, but it was a long journey.
It was a long journey, yes.
Okay, so thank you, Yossi.
Thank you, Yossi.
Thank
This
you, Yossi.
was your 2 minutes
And thank
of
you for
fame.
what you are doing.
Good. And thank you for making Maurice proud. Maurice, after this kind of introduction, so the people will know how important I am because I'm sitting next to you, let's go into to some of the industry issues. Who is this lady which step over there?
This is the most important part of the Yossi family.
Yeah.
That is the most important part of Yossi Vardi family. Very often,
Advertising
people
industry.
say it's the half of myself when we are speaking about our wives. She is not half. She is 100% of what is making Yossi so great.
Yeah, one last comment and then we will go into the business. You know, every time I leave home...
But you are bringing this.
Okay, you are right. Let's go to the business. Advertising industry. How many years you are in the advertising industry? Many.
Okay, the advertising industry went through one of the toughest disruption we could imagine. People are speaking very much about the disruption of hotels or taxis or Airbnb or Uber, etc. But the way the advertising industry had been disrupted is something which was not only second to none, but extremely, extremely difficult to overcome. First, you have the print, which was dominating advertising and the media landscape, which has almost disappeared. They represent less than 10% of the investment. You have new media which were not existing and which are leading the pack, like mobile. And more importantly, so mobile, social, search, all these kind of tools which are available today. But more importantly, the disruption which has been provoked with our client is such that they cannot handle marketing as they were used to. They don't know how to manage marketing. They are always cutting. They don't know how to deal with the new landscape. They don't know how to deal with the youth. And this is making our role extremely interesting, challenging, and difficult. But probably that the most important challenge that we have to face, due to data, to personalization, technology, transformation, is the issue of talent. And the people, despite the fact that internet is there since now 30 years, the people in our industry have not yet been transformed. And many, many talent do not know how to manage social network. They don't know how to advertise on the net. They don't know how to do an interesting commercial on mobile. And all this is really creating a big disruption. And we have to transform our talent pool, which is the biggest challenge that we have.
And in the meantime, the consultants, you know, the Deloitte, the Accenture, are able to attract this kind of talent.
Yes, we have Deloitte, Accenture, McKinsey, and Pricewaterhouse and EY. All the consultants are coming to the territory of branding. They are also helping the client to build some CRM solutions, and they are helping the client to transform themselves in terms of marketing. All this is making our life even more difficult.
So
the
what
beauty is that we understand much better branding, and we understand much better the consumer.
Yes.
So what they can do is relatively limited, and what we have done at Publicis is to buy Sapient in order that we can go into their territory. We have today the capability to deliver consultancy, technology, support for the transformation, both on business as well as marketing to our clients.
Are you interested in talents from Israel? Are you looking for acquisition, not in order to serve the local market, but to gain access to technology?
I'm visiting Israel on a regular basis, and I'm visiting a lot of startups. I came less than a year ago, by the way, with my son, who is managing the family office, and a small team to look at things from both sides, the Publicis side as well as the family side, and to see where we should be investing, what kind of new ventures we should be going to. I'm struck by the incredible energy that exists in Israel.
Good.
No, that's true. It's very impressive. It's very impressive. It's almost commonplace. When I'm saying that I'm struck, it's something that you see. You see all our clients coming. We have helped many of our clients coming to Israel, investing in Israel. We helped, and we are helping still international clients from the US, from Europe, to come over from Asia and to visit some startup and to invest. And many of our clients have invested billions. If we were paid on the investment, and if we were getting a commission like a bank on the investment that our clients have made, we would have been much better off. So we have organized many tours. We have made some investment which are terrible and some investment which are extremely good. But obviously, when you are playing in the digital world, you have to accept that some will fail and some will succeed. So you need to invest in many operations because you will have more failures than successes, and normally the successes will outpace the failures if you are investing wisely. And that is what we are trying to do.
Good. Thank you. In how many countries Publicis is active?
Publicis is present in 108 countries.
108. So
Yes.
we can say that you have
108 countries. We have 80,000 people. We have more than 50% of our business which is in the US. We have 60% of our business which is in tech data, and digital. We are in many areas number one in digital in the advertising field, number one in media, number two in creative, number three in total.
Who are, if you can say, your 5 biggest clients?
Our 5 biggest clients, I don't know if they are in the right order, but there is P&G, Samsung, Verizon, T-Mobile, there is L'Oréal, but I have to add a few others. We have Renault Nissan, GM, Fiat Chrysler, Citibank, JP Morgan. I can go on.
This was quite an impressive five names, I must say.
No,
we count on a different basis in Israel, but that's okay. So we can say that from your observation point, you really know what's going in the world in general. And I would like now to move a little bit to the issue of talent and creativity around the world. You know, when you look today on the world, you see what's going on in the United States, you see what's going on in China, you see what's going on in West Europe, you see what's going on in East Europe. And, you know, I have to pull the information from you, but I would dare to say that the impression that I get is West Europe is kind of lagging behind not only China and the United States, but even East Europe, where the people are much more endeavoring and working harder. Do you agree? Do you want to apologize? Do you want to give excuses? How do you see it?
I will not apologize, simply because I have no responsibility. Clearly, when you look at Western Europe, we have been
in a coma.
We are not speaking about the UK. We are speaking about Western Europe as a whole. So it's if we are speaking, obviously limited to the UK, so your expression, which is under your responsibilities, may be right. But let's be clear. One, we missed the opportunity of internet. We missed the opportunity of the startups. We missed the opportunity of artificial intelligence, and all this despite the fact that Minitel, who was the ancestor of internet, was born in France, despite the fact that during years we have been and still part of the best mathematician schools, and despite the fact that we have great young entrepreneurs in Germany, in France, in the UK, in Spain, in Italy, and our system has been such that we were lagging behind. The fiscal system was not encouraging, the bank system was lazy, the risk that people were ready to take was limited, and we have been lagging behind. And by the way, this was one of the reasons why I decided to create Vivatech.
Yes.
The reason why I created Vivatech, it's because I thought that if we wanted to have a catalyst of energy, of talent, etc., we had to have an event which would tell the people, yes, we care about the people, yes, entrepreneurship is important, startups are important, your involvement is important, and to convince large corporations to invest. And this has been an incredible success, and I'm extremely proud of that. And we are now a little bit filling the gap. I'm saying a little bit because it's only a little bit.
I just heard today
far too little unicorns. We have not enough. We have no one single big platform beside Spotify. And hopefully
Spotify, I want to remind you, is a Swedish.
It's Europe.
Europe, okay. Sweden is
and
part
it
of
is
Europe.
I will explain to you. Geographically, it's Europe, and it's not Eastern Europe. But I understand that from an Israeli point of view, it's a bit far away.
Yeah, it's behind the North
I will
Pole.
show you a map, and I will show you that it's clearly in Europe.
Good.
So,
but please be aware, you have to go as far as Sweden in order to point
Daniel
on the unicorn.
Ek, who is a very good friend, yes, it could have been frozen in Sweden, and he has done a fantastic job, and it was not easy, and I can tell you that we are all extremely proud. But announcement yesterday of Emmanuel Macron,
yeah.
5 billion euros, not shekel. I don't know how many shekels this does. 5 billion
it's
euros.
About 20 billion shekels.
20 billion shekel will be invested in startups in France in order to create more unicorns.
Where, by the way, question, maybe you know where Macron was exposed to the whole idea of startup ecosystem.
It's hard to know, but I guess that maybe at a point in time, maybe in Israel, maybe at the DLD here.
Yeah?
When he was Minister of Economy. And Macron, when he came back, said, I have seen an incredible event. There was somebody there who was a little bit annoying. I don't remember the name, Yossi something. But if you put Yossi aside, the event by itself is absolutely fantastic. And the ladies running the event, who are making Yossi famous, are the real force behind the event. And he said, Maurice, you have to do DLD in Paris. And I went to Yossi, and I said, Yossi, I have an idea. I would like to do DLD in Paris. And he said, you know, I don't own DLD. You have to speak to Steffi. So I went to Steffi. I said, Steffi, I would like to have a DLD in Paris. And Steffi said, it's a great idea, but you have to speak to the CEO. And the CEO said, it's a fantastic idea, but we may lose some money. And I said, yes, this is how you do business. You lose money first, you earn money after. You take some risk. Say, I'm too busy to take that risk, and they let me down. So you cannot rely really on Yossi. I'm telling you, you can trust him only half. You better speak to his wife. And finally, I did it on my own with the support of Les Echos, which is part of LVMH Group. Last year, But in order to stick his finger to my eye, he invites me every year to see the event. 124,000 visitors. We had 13,000 startups. We had 2,300 journalists. So it is becoming an interesting event. And since the beginning, and this is where Yossi has played a very crucial role, I wanted a strong Israeli delegation, and we got it. And every year, we have not only a strong Israeli delegation of startups, but we have a big show, which is called the Yossi Vardi Show, on stage, and it is always rated as one of the most interesting discussion and debate on stage.
Thank you very much to make me a hero in the eyes of my wife. Just one correction. I'm not going to the details of the negotiations about the DLD in Paris, but totally unrelated, nothing to do with the story. I want to tell you about the story of Eshkol and Johnson. When Eshkol came to visit Johnson, he told Johnson, we would like to do with you a joint project. And Johnson asked him, what kind of project? He said, we want to do with you a joint desalination plant, the first desalination plant. And then Johnson asked Eshkol, what will be the nature of the joint venture? So Eshkol told him, you will bring the money and we will bring the sea.
Yes, this reminds me the project that some Israeli had, which was to merge with the Chinese, and to merge Israel with the Chinese. And they went to Hu Jintao, who was the president of China in those days, and said, we have a plan to merge Israel with the Chinese. He said, yes, but what? Why should we do that? He said, because jointly we will be the biggest country on earth.
That's okay. Let's.
This reminds me also the fact that Yossi this morning was with me, and the lady said, I would like to pick your brain. And Yossi said, beware, when an Israeli tells you he wants to pick your brain, the reality is he wants to pick your pocket.
This is not nice to say about Israel.
No, it's you who said that. I told you it's not true. They don't pick the pocket. They go directly to the money.
China. Tell us your view about China.
China is impressive. China is impressive. And I remember some 15 years ago, everyone was thinking that China would be much more a copy machine, and it will remain a little bit the factory of the world. And I consider it, based, by the way, on what I heard from many Chinese people and Asian people in the region, that there was no reason why China would be copycat. That when we have seen the rise of Japan, at the beginning Japan was copying the Western world. The same was happening with Korea. And there was no reason why the Chinese would stick to become the back-end factory of the world. And the reality is that they were investing massively in research, they were investing massively in education, and what we have today is an impressive superpower with an incredible richness of people, well educated, and some of the greatest platforms in the world, really fighting neck to neck with the Americans. And on artificial intelligence, I cannot guarantee that they will not be the winners. They are investing much more than the Americans, and they have decided that they will become a superpower in artificial intelligence. So we have an example of how a country which only in some 30, 40 years ago, a rural country, how they became an industrial country, and now a country of intelligence. So I think that it is telling us that we can grow, we can improve our game, and we should invest heavily in education. And we should believe and trust the people and their capability in entrepreneurship.
East Europe. By the way, how many people you have in China?
In China, we have something like 5,000 people.
East Europe.
East Europe is very interesting because it is a variety of countries. And you should not judge East Europe as a region. It is very different. And what you get in the Balkans has nothing to do with what you get in Poland or in Czech Republic or in Hungary or Ukraine. So it's very different. And there are a few countries which are very much advanced. And by the way, it's interesting to see that most of the countries which are advanced are the countries who have invested heavily on education, and partly math and physics. Ukraine. Ukraine, you have an incredible wealth of talent. By the way, hackers are very often
This
based in
lady
UK.
is the advisor of the president of Poland, so you better say something good about Poland.
I wanted to come to Poland, but now that you have said it, I will look like being a little bit subservient.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
we are extremely pleased with our operation in Poland. The head of the Eastern region is a Polish guy, and we have invested heavily in the region, and we are really very pleased, and we have some outsourcing base in Poland. So Poland is one of the great countries, and one of the emerging country which can be interesting in terms of talent, because I'm looking at all these countries by the capability of creating a talent pool, is Romania. And Romania is interesting.
Romania is very interesting. Time is running very quickly. I need 3 quick questions, short answers, okay? Number 1, what do you see the future of this region? Middle East, Gulf, etc.
I'm not sure that I will bring anything new that you don't know. You have a region which is under transformation. I'm coming to Israel at least once a year since the 60s. So this tells you how many times I have been in Israel. And I'm seeing the change every time I'm coming here. You have the same kind of change at a speed which may be different, but you have the same kind of change in the Gulf countries, but also in Jordan. You see Saudi Arabia emerging, and you have a devastating situation in Syria, Iraq, Iran, Yemen, and a situation which is not so great in Egypt due to the issues that this country is facing. So it's vibrancy, a lot of young people who are impatient to take control and to grow. And also we see the rise of women, and this is something which is not noticed everywhere, but you see that happening in the Gulf as well as in Jordan and in Egypt.
Second question, how many kinds of fromage, of cheese you have in France?
France is a country which is not manageable because of the number of cheese that we have, and this was the expression of de Gaulle. It's a country of more than 500 different cheeses.
So how do you want to develop a tech industry when people wake up in the morning and don't know, are unable to decide what type of cheese they want to eat?
Because we are not based on the kind of cheese that we eat, but on the kind of brain that you have.
Okay, and the last question. Are you willing to disclose your birth date,
Yes, definitely.
which is?
The same as yours.
No. I think that I am older than you in 1 month, or I'm younger than you in 1 month.
You are older than me.
In which month you were born?
Feb.
February.
Yes.
February 42.
42.
So you are a much older guy. You are with one leg already in the grave. But
I know that.
But I want to
I
ask.
know, but the problem is that the grave is already occupied by the leg of yours.
I want to ask you to give us really in one sentence. You know, you have very rich life. You really accomplish things that very few people accomplished. I'm not sure that these people will be able to appreciate. You know, when I attended this meeting that you mentioned, I had a chance, but I knew it also before. After all what you have done and what you said, etc., what is your takeaway from your business experience? What are the 1, 2, 3 things that you learn in your life other than talent, which you mentioned?
Okay, in one sentence, only one. We have at Publicis done impossible things. Really impossible. It was impossible to become global for a French company. It was impossible to get the kind of client we have. It was impossible to grow without injecting new capital, and we never injected new capital. We multiplied the value by more than 100 times, and we did everything because we were absolutely unconscious of the fact that it was impossible. So take risk, dare, and don't think that it is impossible. The last thing that I would like to say, don't go for the cheap and easy path. This will be successful maybe, but it will not help you achieving great things. Dare high, the highest possible. I love an expression which is not mine, which is shoot for the moon. If you miss it, you will land among the stars. And that is what we have tried to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Maurice Levy.